So, welcome back, students. So, today we are going to start a chapter by Mr. Subroto Bakshi, and the name of the chapter is Go Kiss the Wall. So, this is basically it's an autobiographical narrative by Mr. Bakshi, who was he's chief operating officer of Mindtree Limited, and this is actually a speech and by Mr. Bakshi narrating about his own life from his childhood till the time he become totally well established. He got a nice job. He is totally settled. So it's about his own life. So basically, this chapter tries to teach us and tries to let us know that the term learning a lesson that can happen from anything throughout our life. Learning never ends, or the process of learning, it never ends, or we cannot make it complete. We cannot say that we have learned everything. It can never happen till from the time an infant borns till the time of death of a man. Every time he keeps on learning. The process of learning keeps on happening, and it can happen not just like in school or from your parents, but sometimes even a stone, even a pebble can gives us very useful lessons in our life. And each and every incident, each and every happenings in our life gives us a lesson. But the thing is this, that we need to be very much conscious about what we are acquiring, we are trying to acquire the knowledge acquiring is very dynamic. It can never, we cannot say that my knowledge is enough, I got all the knowledge, my learning is all which I got. We cannot complete our learning. The process of learning, it never ends. So this chapter tells us about Subroto Bakshi's experience of learning things from starting from his home, from his community where he was staying, and later till the time when he was already well established, when he totally become a complete successful man. Till that time he keeps on learning things, and that's what we are going to get in our chapter Go Kiss the Wall. Actually, the title Go Kiss the Wall was a statement given by the mother of Subroto Bakshi, which we will get in our chapter later on. So before going further in the chapter, see here in the first page of the chapter, sometimes there are lessons in small things that we do. What are the routine tasks that you do at home? What activities do you participate in regularly with your parents or grandparents? What lessons do you learn from them? So these few questions given in your book, if you are going to think about it, if you are going to try to find out what these questions are asking, then it will come in our mind. It will come that whenever we talk to our parents or to grandparents or to our neighbors, to our friends, every time we gain some knowledge, we gain some lessons, we acquire some lessons. Now it is up to us how we are going to use those knowledge, use those lessons in our life practically. always remember, whenever we come across to any of the part of the society, we always acquire both bad and good lessons. It is our job, it is our duty to accept the good one and to learn the good thing from the bad happenings that happens in our life. We try to take the good things and to throw out the bad ones. So, in this autobiographical narrative, the author pays tribute to his parents. He also gives us an insight into how the strong morals and the simple principles followed by his family enabled him to achieve success in his life. So, this is what we are going to get in our chapter Go Kiss the World. So, let's start. I was the last child of a small time government servant in our family of 5 brothers. So they were all 5 brothers. My earliest memory of my father is as that of a district employment officer in Korapat, Orissa. So Subrata Baksh's father was a government employee. He was a district employment officer in Korapat, Orissa. There was no electricity, no primary school nearby, and water did not flow out of a tap. That means the water tap. As a result, I did not go to school until the age of 8. I was homeschooled. So, because of that poor condition, there was no school, there were no primary schools, there were no electricity, the facility of running water was also not there in the taps. So, because of all these problems and because of that particular time, he couldn't manage to go to school till the age of 8. And till that age he was homeschooled by his parents. My mother was raised by a widow and had come as a refugee. Now, what is a refugee? Refugee is a person who has been forced to leave his or her country or home and settle elsewhere, means in other country. So from the then East Bengal means earlier East Bengal. She was a matriculate when she married my father. My parents set the foundation of my life and the value system that makes me what I am now and largely defines what success means to me today. As a district employment officer, my father was given a jeep by the government. So, being a government employee, he's one government officer, Subroto Baksh's father. So, he was given a jeep to commute his office from his home. So, what he says, my father refused, saying that it was not his jeep but the government's jeep. He would walk to his office. So instead of spending government's money, he prefer to walk, which he can do at that time. So if one can walk somewhere to reach his destination, so what is the use of spending the money or spending the fuel? So he tried to ignore the use of jeep to commute to his office. The jeep driver was treated with the respect due to any other member of my father's office. So the jeep driver, he was also a government employee. Because of that, everyone from Subrata Baksh's family respect the driver just like others officers from his father's office. Our day used to start with the family huddling around my mother's chulha. Now, what is huddling? That means to come across, to gather very closely near the chulha. Chulha means the stove. The stove which was made by traditionally earlier people used to make chulha with mud or clay. so in the kitchen. So all the brothers, they come and they huddle up there in the mother, near the mother's chula, an earthen fireplace that she would build at each place of posting where she would cook for the family. The morning routine started with tea. As the brew was served, father would ask us to read aloud the editorial page of the Statesman Mufossil. That's an daily, that's a newspaper. And his father asked each and every of Subrata Bakši's brother, including himself, to read the editorial page loudly. So, what's the name of the newspaper? That newspaper was Statesman's Mufossil. The editorial page was required to read loudly. So, delivered one day late, the communication, the transportation was so irregular that even the newspapers comes the next day. Suppose today's newspaper, they're supposed to get it in the next day. We did not understand much of what we read, but the ritual was meant for us to know that the world was larger than Koraput, and the English I speak today, despite having studied in an Odia medium school, has to do with that routine. So from that, he learned a lesson in his life. Throughout this part till here, till this paragraph, we come across many of the learning experiences of Subrata Bakshi. First of all, to be loyal to the job. He learned that from his father. To be generous, showing respect to the jeep driver from his father's office. So, and now the use of the routine of reading newspapers loudly, which makes him fluent to speak in English till today, was just because of, in spite of reading in Oriya medium school, that happens just because of the practice of reading newspapers daily in the morning hours. After reading the newspaper aloud, we were told to fold it neatly. Father taught us a simple lesson. He used to say, you should leave your newspaper and your toilet the way you expect to find it. The lesson was about showing consideration to others. So this is a very big thing. You see, some of us in some places, in some from our family members, some of us, we are having the habit of reading the newspaper or just trying to open it up, and just after it just will throw the newspaper somewhere. Later we don't even care the next person is going to read it, or the next person is going to use it for reading or for trying out to check something, some news. So we don't care about that. We just simply fold it and we keep it aside. Or sometimes the same way, the use of toilet should be same, but instead some people, we might have noticed that they don't keep the toilet clean in a hygienic way. So once the way, if you want the toilet to be clean, then after using it, you too should make it clean so that the next person can get it in a clean way. As we wish to get it clean, we want things to be clean, to be perfect. So we should, after using it, we should try to think it for some else also. This thing shows us consideration, showing consideration to others. This is the lesson which Subrata Bakshi, he learned from his father. Now, being small children, we were always enamored with the advertisement in the newspaper of transistor radios. So at the time, television set was not there. So people were, those who were a bit rich there in that time, so they possess that transistor sets, the radios. So people, and basically the small children, they are very much fascinated by seeing the ads the photos, the pictures of various models of transistor sets that comes in the advertisement part in the newspaper. So Subrata Bakshi, along with his brothers, they were very much fascinated to see those photos of the transistor radios.